welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a social production. That's right. We're doing it on Wednesday, August the 19th, 2026, wherever you're tuning in from. Wagwan to me familiars. Right there. If you're tuning in from Canada, hello to you. The family, the syndicate, you know who you are. The arms of the tentacles of the old octopi, puss. Hello, further me familiars down south in the United States of America, all 50 states, beautiful from all the way from Hawaii to California, over there in New York, Kansas, Missouri, over there, further down south, South America's of course, Mexico, South America, over there in Peru, over there in Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Nicaragua, up top, over there in Africa, Nairobi, the Congo, Bongo, over there in Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, the Zimbabwe, over there, and hello to you, and all of the European countries, of course, all the way from the west of Europe, from the United Kingdom, all the way to back to like Russia, where it's like almost touching North America, all the way over there, like it's crazy. Siberia, hello to you. It's freezing up there. Hello to my Asiatic, to the people of the Caucasus. How are your cocks? Is it all cocks in the Caucasus? Is that where Caucasus come from? Hello to you. Then Australia's, of course, my criminals over there in New Zealand, over there in Papua New Guinea, running around naked, chanting gladyamadeit, wielding your cocks you don't have swords because you're in the new, or maybe you do. Again, this is why I got to travel to more places, but that's for further down the line. Nonetheless, if you're underwater breathing heavily, congratulations, you're weird, but we like it, especially if you're not using an oxygen tank. If you're in a boat, letting your labias catch some vitamin D. Speaking of labias, my labia came loose last night, and that's, when you tie your labia and like the little, you do the bunny ears, you're like, this should hold. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, which is why I use crazy gorilla glue for my labias when I'm sleeping. So that's how I know they're not gonna come untied. If you know, you know. Shout out to the areolas out there, to the bi-areolas. That's like two areolas. If you're mono areola, hello to you too. If you're if you had them removed and placed on your back, so you can wear a tank top and pretend like you're staring at people, but that's pretty dope, actually, not gonna lie to you. So hello to you too with your areolas on your back. Nonetheless, let's just get right into it. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me. Let me get a sip of this coffee right here, because it's Wednesday, baby. We're gonna fucking rock and roll right now. Let's fucking rock and roll. Let's rock and roll right now together. Please, but also let's all calm down and relax. But also let's crank it up. Let's fucking crank it up. Let's get started, shall we? Get these psychos off the street. That's what I said. That's what you've been saying. It's high time that we get these psychos off the street. What am I talking about? I'm glad you asked. Thank you for tuning in once again. In Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken, a masked man wearing a Chucky mask. This mask, just get the psychos off the street if you know what I'm talking about. This masked man who's wearing the Chucky mask again, chasing this bitch who's running in the AM, right? Like 5 in the morning, she's running. And I've been saying this from the beginning. Get these motherfucking psychos off the street. Masked man chases woman who's running in the AM. It's enough, all right? Enough is enough, all right? Quit running around in the AM. This is, again, it's a small step. I'm not sure how he's gonna stop all of them, but we've talked about this, all right? I love a good exercise. I'm a walker, all right? I'm a walker and I'm a talker too. Walker, talker right here. I get it. You gotta get those steps in. Any form of exercise really is good for you, not gonna lie to you. But having said that, one of the pillars of this podcast from the get-go, no early runs in the morning. If you are running in them, get these psychos off the streets today, please. In the AM, the audacity, this heinous act of just in your face, right there. It's like 4 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. People get up. There's the early birds who like to get up to do some business. If you know what I'm talking about, go get it out there. I'm talking about the firefighters. police department, the hookers, the prostitutes, the people who are working in factories, getting up early in the morning, fast food worker, all the working in the AM to get the day going. And then all of a sudden you see this fellow or lady running at like 4:45 in the morning. Get these fucking psychos. That's what I said. This is, again, it's one man. I don't know how, this is potentially the start. Hopefully he can gain some momentum, get these freaks of nature off the streets. No one is allowed to, it's sacrilege. It says it in the Bible. Do not run. Do not run at least till 6:30, like 7, because anything prior to that, you're just the messaging, the vile messaging that's sent out. What kind of society do we want to live in? That you got people running around, the bitches and the men who wear the tights or the loose clothes, doesn't matter what kind of clothing, you sick son of a bitch, all right? Looking at everybody else with your headphones on or you're raw dogging it, no music, you psycho, get off the streets. I gotta get my 10,000 to get off the streets. Everybody else is sleeping, what are you doing? Everybody else is getting up, maybe stretching, having a coffee. Going for a little, a couple of stretch at your home. Do your exercise at home, but like specifically running in the air. Running that's any, no run. This is, but again, personal opinion that's backed by the stats. The people have spoken. No running after midnight till 6:30 in the morning. Till 6. If you're running anytime after 12 at midnight, and between, again, 12 to 6 and you have got your, I don't know what, again, they just want to get the thrills, right? You got to get that runner's high. These guys, they just want to be high all the time. They just want to be high. It's like, it's 4 in the morning, it's 5 in the morning. Again, it's just one man. He's doing his best. Things do get messed. Again, the message, because the messaging is that, exercise is good. Exercise is good. But again, anything between 12 to 6 is just this, it's only a few individuals that we can accept. Again, he's not running either. I've heard of Mark Wahlberg getting up at like 3:12 in the AM but he's not running in the streets as far as I'm concerned, because even then with all the great movies that we've been entertained with, I'm willing to get, again, exercise, I'll give everybody the pass. Running specifically outside, all right? And you see some animals do it. You've seen. I don't even care if I don't care if you're a male. I don't care if you're I don't care if you're a, And I've seen the squirrel. You see a little squirrel with his little tiny little short shorts, a little 90s headphones over the ears. You know what I'm talking about? Tiny metal bar over his little head. Just fucking dun 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 dun. It's like, what are you doing? I gotta get the nuts because the winter is coming. I gotta exercise. Get out of here, little squirrel. You see the raccoon stretching with his little sneakers while all the other raccoons are in garbage bins. What are you doing? I gotta get my steps in. As he's chain smoking too. What is up with these psych? Get him off the streets. Again, one masked man. It's gonna take all of us. It's gonna take all of us. Please do your due diligence. If you see it, if you see anyone running in the AM, please call the cops. All right, this needs to be dealt with immediately. We can't let it go on anymore, all right? It's just too much. You're sweating when everyone else is sleeping. You are a disgrace to the human race, I'll say that. And again, there should be open up the psych wards. Open up the psych wards. I've said this from the beginning. All right, bring back some of these institutions. We need to do more lobotomies, and we'll get to that later on as well. But I swear, shout out to this hero, one man, chasing one bitch. But again, if you can find a man to chase in the morning with your car, throw objects at them, yell at them, go home, get out of here. In your car, drive really, get out of here. Slowly, get out of here, man. Just yell that at their face. If they got a water bottle in their hand, slap it out of their hand. You know what I'm talking about? Because they're thirsty too in the morning. You know what I'm talking about? Just slept for 2 hours, up running, pissing, and then going for a walk, and then turning it into a jog, and then a running and a sprint. Get these people off the streets, please. Thank you for joining me. Of course, a lot of people, they're like, what can I do to push myself? What can I, whether it's a form of exercise, whether it's some sort of athleticism, or a sport or something. Again, if you're coming here for suggestion, I've been doing this for some time now. I don't recommend you go ahead and, maybe you'd like to, I don't know. If it inspires you, by all means, because people get inspired by different forms of inspiration. You watch the UFCs, you're like, oh, I want to exercise. I want to maybe, sign up for some, karate classes and then be like Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado, Ian Gary Machado. He speaks Japanese. I didn't see the full card. I don't have time for the full cards right now. Right now, your boy doesn't have time for it, so I'll watch the highlights. But Islam Makhachev, the Makhachev, the only Islam that we can get behind, the Makhachev, that's the only one that we could. But you see that, you're like inspired. Both ads. Shout out to everybody, by the way. Shout out to everybody again. I didn't know Ian Macchiato, Gary. I don't know if it's the impact you get, sometimes that's the impact of the punches and the kicks. You start speaking another language. I didn't know that. He starts speaking Finnish. I think he starts speaking in Finnish in the interviews. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like you get hit in a certain point and then boom, right there. In that moment, you're like, ugh, right there. It all just downloads right in your frontal lobe and you're just like, what? Who is this 45-year-old Japanese businessman? And I'm inside my head, and I'm not talking, but that's shout out to everybody who's picked up a new language through whether it's been, knocks to the head, getting tasered, getting electrocuted, having a prolonged orgasm, that always helps, and so on and so forth. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, people get inspired by different things, and if you're like, Rob, how do you do the thing that you do? You're so good at it. One of the things that you do that you're so good at, and for those of you who don't know, Again, I don't like to brag. I'm not one of these guys that likes to, go out there and, look at the, yeah. But if you're asking, you're like, what is it? It's no big deal. I'm just the ultimate porn watching champion, and I've been doing it for, I can't remember when I started, but it's been many years. And that's the thing. You like to gradually build up to something. It's just something that I loved from an early age, passionate about. Little by little, you watch a little here, then you watch a little there. Next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I'm really good at this. I got like this natural knack. You gotta listen to yourself and see what you're good at too. And again, finding those, things that bring you the joy and happiness, and then pursuing it, and later, who knows? And that's, again, initially in the early stages, if you would have asked me, do you think this, people used to, make fun of us and, the porn watching champion, nobody's gonna want to watch porn watching championships. Who can watch the most porn, or watch it in different ways, and we used to do tricks all the time, just watch the porn in reverse, because that's, and again, people are like, that's never, this is so on the outside, it's in the fridge, it's in the fridge, it's in the fringes, and the fridge in the fringes, it's so far out, no one's, but before and then all of a sudden, people start showing up, crowds, and you got people hanging from the ceiling watching porn. That was your boy back in '93, not gonna lie to you. That was, some say trailblazer, innovator, visionary, black and white. No one's ever done, unless of course, if you started early in the black and white days, that was what you were used to. But in the modern era, nobody went from color then to black and white. We did that. Not gonna lie to you, 2000 and I believe it was 2003. That's when we took the championship home for the first time, and back-to-back wins with 7 rings. I've got 7 rings thus far. But again, I'm not saying this is for you. I'm not saying, and I don't want anybody out there thinking that, I'm just gonna, if this guy can do it. Yeah, do we make it look easy? Oftentimes, it's just it seems like, it's just like breathing. It's just like breathing. And people, because it's, again, years of practice. You got to get your 100 million hours in, and then that's, again, dedication. You are going to lose family members, friends. Certain jobs you're gonna have to quit, certain jobs you're gonna have to maybe take on because you're gonna need a little bit of extra cash. It's a lifestyle that doesn't, but then again, once the glory and the belts start coming in, and the flashes, and that's the noise, when the noise comes in and the sponsors and everybody jumps in and we love the porn watching championships from day one. It's like, no, you didn't, but also we do like the casuals as well, because it's at the end of the day, you all gotta, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. What I'm telling you right here is to hopefully inspire you to go out there and do something that you're good at, that brings you joy. Doesn't have to be what I'm doing. And again, good luck, by the way, if you're trying to compete, good luck. Because again, I've been at this shit for a long time, all right? I'm not gonna let it go, not gonna let it go. But nonetheless, do get inspired, and yes, shout out to everybody doing it out there. Wagwans. I'm just gonna sip of this bad boy right here. A tragic event took place in Belgium. This breaks my heart, but hopefully we can use this as a means to grow together, a learning moment for all. An 18-year-old teenager, a boy, decided to take up a summer job like many of young men's and women's do out there. He decided to go to a construction site, start doing a little bit of construction, early stages of his, working experience, dig in an area in the construct. That's what he was assigned to, dig this area. I don't know what the site was. It doesn't matter. That's aside the point. It's the little details that don't matter. The important thing about this story, my friends, my amigos, mi familias, the syndicate, the tentacles, shall we? The important part is that he dug and dug. Every day he went to work, trying to save a couple of bucks. He's like, oh, I can't wait till he's in Belgium, so I don't know what they do. I don't know what's like, what does a demo do in Belgium? I'm just, teenagers are teenagers. We've got, get a little bit of scratch, get a couple of nickels and dimes or whatever the currency is, put your money together, buy some booze, buy some drugs, buy some, video games, buy some, maybe save up to buy your first car, or a motorcycle or a scooter, or get a hooker, or get a girlfriend if you can, and then take her for a date, and then get a hooker together, or get a girlfriend, save your money, get a hooker, and then do a throuple, save more money, and then get like another hooker, and then now you're like 4 people, which is pretty dope. So just typical activities. You could do. So he was doing this all day. He's digging, and it's it's hard work. It's labor intensive. He's building muscles where he didn't even know he had muscles there. But it's a young man's journey. It's a young man's life. Until one day he dug and struck something, and he's like, "What is it? What could this be?" Didn't feel familiar. He's done the digging. He knows what the shovel feels like on dirt and rock, but this felt different. As soon as he struck, his shovel vibrated, and the vibration went to his solar plex, and it sent a message to his brain. And his brain's like, we've hit something, and this is different. I should dig deeper and find out what it is. And he did. Our young man threw away his shovel. On his hands and knees, he started to gather all the dirt from the top of the thing that he hit with his shovel, and he piled it to the side. He's digging and digging with his little 18-year-old hands. Still not a man's hand, but not a baby anymore either. Digging. He's getting soot in his face. There's no soot. He's outdoors, but nonetheless, for visual effect, he's covered in soot. He's got a safety helmet on. He takes it off and chucks it to the side. Throws safety throws caution to the wind, and wind to the. He throws wind, like one of those fucking old school kung fu movies, like right there, wind, throw it, dirt, also throw it. Next thing you know, he finds $9 million worth of gold with his homies in the construction site. Gold bars, gold jewelry, gold coins. I actually don't know what kind of gold. I think it was gold bars. It was bullions. I love a good bullion. You show me a bullion and I'll run away fast. You give me the point is, ladies and gentlemen, with a bullion, you can do a lot. And what this is the tragedy here, again, the learning moment is this is together. The collective decided to those who found this teenager with his co-workers, whoever found this 9 million worth of gold, decided to pick up the telly, right? They picked up their cell phones, and you know who they called? They called their family or friends and said they're ballers now. Pack a bag. We're going all around Europe now, bitch. We're gonna get so many hookers now, bitch. That's what they picked up the phone and called their besties and said, get your fucking passports ready. All right, bring some socks, bring some condoms, bring some booze and we are gonna go get litty. You're like, that's the phone call they made. Or no, that's the tragic part of this story. You know what they call the cops? That's what they narked on themselves. They narked on themselves. You think, you try your best. You, as a parent, you try your best. You lead by example. You're like, you can only, and sure, we've all made mistakes. But you think you've done everything you could to teach them that by the time they're 18, should they find a lump sum of cash, $8 to $9 to $10 million worth of gold with their homies anywhere, really, what do? You shut the fuck up is what you do. You keep it to yourself and you bring it back home immediately. You don't tell no one and you quit that job fast. Or continue working so that no one, gains any suspicions on your activities and then quit in like 2-3 months. What you don't do is call the cops, because now this $9 million worth of gold has to get, the cops first of all took it, goes in a basement somewhere, it gets labeled as found gold. Now they got to decide who's gonna get the gold. Is it the family that owned the land, that owned the construction site? Is it the construction workers? They're probably not gonna get $9 million worth, because it's probably not. That's the sad part. That's the sad, again. Hopefully, I wish this for all of you. I hope that you're all learning right now. We can all learn. If you're digging anywhere, and I get it, digging's fun. You give me a shovel and a piece of land and some, we've been to beaches. I'll go to the beach and I'll start digging until it's, I'll lose track of time. Many a holes a man has dug. Many of hours, many of days he spent digging that hole. Many a holes filled with water, many a shorts gotten wet, many of dicks shrank because the water eventually reaches your knees and then your balls, and then that's not good. Nonetheless, digging holes are fun, and yes, many of us would do it for free, but $9 million worth of gold is not something you'd come across every day. Please take this as a learning experience. If you come across any sort of loose cash in your life, a briefcase left in the garbage can, by the mob who did a hit, and then they got a hit placed on them, and now there's just a loose, briefcase filled with billions of dollars in cash. Take it and go. If you're digging at work, if you're working and you're like, what is this? It's an artifact from who knows, but it looks like it's made of gold and other stuff. Just don't call the boss. You don't call the boss. Whoever's there, finders, keepers, it's grown up shit, all right? As soon as you're 18, you should be able to look at all the other adults and be like, fellas, ladies, what are we really doing here? What are we really doing here, all right? It's time to get that cash. You keep your mouth shut. Do not narc on yourself. Again, it's tragic, but hopefully we can all learn from this. And again, you're like, oh, what is this? It's somebody left a car in this parking lot for 3 days, and the doors seem to be open. There's a garbage bag filled with cash. Maybe I should call the cops. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should take you're like, what about the consequences that might come after? In movies, there's always movies, man. You take the cash. And you move immediately from where you're living. It's not that important. Take the millions of cash and run. It's tragic, but hopefully we can all learn from this. Now, I'm reading a bunch of stuff, of course, as per usual, and I know you guys are learning and reading and discovering new things and remembering things, and then going back and then be like, what? We did that? And yes, we did. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm glad you asked. Thank you for joining me once again. It's Wednesday. The thought of ants being used as surgical tools is mind-boggling. It's amazing. We've done this in the thousands of years ago. We used to do this. All right, they used to use ants as surgical clamps or staples, rather, when they cut people open thousands of years ago. That's what they did. You use little warrior ants or little. I think that's what they're called. I'm not sure, but they grabbed the little tiny, the surgeon or the local, the tribe elders men's, the witch doctor, the shaman. They'd come in there with their little mason jar filled with little warrior ants, and they cut you open to get your, who knows, to just, get something out of you because you had some sort of stomach ache and nobody could figure it out. It was bad food, it was all fiber, too much fiber, too much fiber and like rocks too. So you get indigestion, and then you get constipated, and then next thing you know, you're bloating down there in the tum-tum region, and you're like, what is this? And you're fucking up high. You're up high. You're upper echelon in society. You're like, you're like the Pharaoh's kid or whatever. You're like the second Pharaoh to be you're second in line to be the next Pharaoh. You're like, my stomach is enlarged. What the hell is this? You got a pile of rocks in your tum-tum. So you'd call over a witch doctor. They come in there, they cut you open, and then to staple you, they use ants, little tiny ants. They use the heads to bite your little wound, and once it bit your wound and it snapped its little mouth shut, and they turn its body, twist off the body, leave the head, and it would stay in there. It would stay in there and eventually dissolve and fall off. And so we did that thousands of years ago. You're like, why is this important today? I'd like to say that I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing that back because we don't do that anymore. A lot of people like to, separate themselves from nature. Oh, we're too good for nature. Get out of here with your surgeries in the woods. We don't want to do surgeries in the woods. Get the animals out of here. They're dirty. Bacteria. Wash your hands. Bring back the ants. I'm bringing it back. If you'd like to have any surgeries done, I'm doing it right now. I'll cut you open and use ants to sew you back up. I wonder if they used any other animals. I can only say if they used the ants for staples, they did that. If you needed to clean this is not been written anywhere, but I can only again extrapolate and assume and deduce that they did that. If you needed an enema, an emergency enema, what they did was they took a snake, right? They took a snake, cut off its head, cut off the tip of the tail too, and then cleaned out the insides, and then inserted that inside your asshole, and then poured whatever liquid that was appropriate, thousands of years ago in your anus, and then cleanse you out. That was the first anal enema tube, snakes. So there you go, bringing that back as well. And along with that, trepanations, also a fan. It's just because it coincides with the things that we're going through these days. You're like, man, next step, the chippy chips in the old brains, maybe. So you got the handicaps, you got the mentally and physically retarded that are going out there getting chips, coming out, getting jobs at wherever, and you're like, man, this is pretty dope. I'm just like thinking, was that their chip back then, the trepanation? Some dude 12,000 years ago in Morocco grabbing a stone, and you're like, man, I got this crazy headache. If there's anything, I've tried everything. I've tried drinking wine. I've tried drinking water. I had some lamb the other day. I went for a walk and nothing's working. And then you have your bud over there, just like banging two stones together. It's like, when we just like dig a hole in your head? When we dig a hole, and that's what they did, the first people to do this. Incredible. Somebody had to trust somebody else to dig a hole in their brain, in their not in their brain, but on their skull, to let out whatever is, let's let it breathe first. Let it breathe. I wonder if they did the same sort of thing, Initially people were like, oh, that's the sign of the sign of the beast, man. You don't want those holes in your brain, man. Don't get a hole in your skull, man. That's what if they did, perform better after the holes? Should we, So having said that, I'd like to say that I'm also bringing back trepanation. If you like a hole in your head, and yes, it was the first iteration of the chip. It was the start. You dig a hole in your skull. Next thing you know, you're typing faster. You're scrolling quicker. Your motor skills improve by 90x. And you're like, I don't know. I guess I don't know if I want better motor skills. Yeah, I guess you don't. Then I guess you don't. Miss out on the hole in your head and the better motor. That's 90x betterment in your motor skills. Okay, and I'm doing this not because I'm licensed or allowed, but because I feel like somebody should bring him back. And I will bring it back if it takes. So if you like some trepanation, please leave a comment. I'm willing to do that for you. A lot of people think it's like taking a stone and then cracking it over your head. It's not. It's slowly but surely scraping away on one area until it, because you don't want to damage the skull. I don't want to crack you over the head with a stone. You know what I'm talking? So we got to go slow. It's going to be painful, but it will be worth it. It will be worth it. You let your brain breathe. There's nothing you can't do. Next thing you know, making the right investments. Next thing you know, buying the right property at the right time. They always say, it's the right time to, making good decisions. Next thing you know, having all the babies. Next thing you know, forgoing all the babies, but maybe it's not for you. Like, I just need a sign. You open up that airway into your skull and you let your brain breathe a little bit. Next thing you know, good decision city. And next thing you know, where are you? On top of the world. That's where you are. So again, I'm willing to do this for 1,000 a pop. I think that's fair. I dig into you. You pick the location that you like the hole to be in. All right. And the good thing is you can scratch your brain. Ever have your brain just be like it's itchy in there, and you can't scratch it because unless you go through your nose or your mouth hole, which is it's the scenic route. I'll give you that. But nonetheless, you get direct access now. And you're like making out with a chick, and you're like, oh, I heard her long 3-inch nails. If only she were to have access to my brain. Now she can stimulate your frontal lobe with her long, dirty fingernail, and just the right spot will get your toes to curl in any which way. Do it like a 360. Your toes are gonna turn 360 like an owl's head. It's never done that before. It's kind of freaking everybody out actually, but as long as it makes you happy, I'll say that. So bringing it back, you're welcome. Bringing the old, mixing it with the new. And again, there's always going to be people who are like, oh, don't do it. It's too much. Are we going too fast? Are we, no, it's not. No, we're not. No, we've been doing it. It's getting better. We'll keep doing it. And again, if you want somebody to, do it on you, you know who to call. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining me once again. It is Wednesday, of course. Let's get a sip of this. And again, because exercise is important to us here, health is important to us, because I want you to all live happy, long lives. And I'm tired of, looking at this exercise and asking myself, is this the right form of exercise? Whether it's Pilates, whether it's, high intensity training, or do I work out with dumbbells, or do I do machines only? Do I go for a run? Do I do yoga? Do I do the karates with the jiu-jitsu? I found the best way to get some sort of exercise in your body where you're utilizing your time wisely, so you're not wasting hours and hours of time at the gym, unless you like to live at the gym. Some people do, to each their own. I found the best way to get a workout is to actually take numbing cream and apply it to a region of your body, and then let that area go numb, or tranquilizer too. This one works really, really good. Trank. You stab yourself with a trank dart in the legs. Your legs go night. All right. It's num. It's num juice for your legs, baby. It's num city down there. You're dead. You're dead down there. You don't feel anything. It's dead weight. Next thing you know, you have to drag yourself everywhere using your upper body. And I've been doing this for approximately 7 weeks now. I have trouble getting through doors because of it just widens your shoulders and it builds your pecs. It's pec city up in this bitch. Pec city up, and I've got I'd have to lube up any building I'm entering in for business or pleasure. I call in advance and tell them, hey, you know who's coming? Yeah, it's right, your boy's coming. What do we need to do today? I'll say, the first thing you need to do is lube up your door so I can slide. And they'll say, why? I'll say, because I've been using the num cream, all right, on the old legaroos, and just been doing upper body workouts. And by that, I mean I've been crawling everywhere. The second I get up, I crawl out of bed. I make my way to the toilet by clinging onto the sides. Yeah, sure, a few first times my head dipped in the water, and that was pretty nasty, but you learn, and you grow thicker. And then to reverse it, of course, you're like, what if I want to work legs? Because legs are important. You num the top-a-roo, all right? You num the torso, and you're now carrying dead weight. Ever walk on an escalator with your torso just being loose, your head clank, hitting on the steps? That really doesn't help with the exercise, but it's the weight. Essentially, it helps with balance, agility. You're like, how do I coordinate this loose neck with all the trank? And you got trank darts in your neck right there, right? And I'm not used to that. That's how you build the nice thick neck, by going trank to the torso. Of course, the more you use, the heavier the weight, the more difficult it. I like to just, at one point, once you do it, start with little. A little goes a long way. Start with one arm, Start with one arm. Just numb one arm. And then to do exercises with one side, and then once you regain some, feeling, numb out the other arm and then reverse it. The point is, start small. Eventually, you want to be able to just amp up the volume and crank yourself to the point where you feel nothing and it's all dead weight except below. Anything above the head, it feels good. You can, but anything below the neck, it's all dead weight. Move that around for a few blocks. Next thing you know, it's, I don't know, do you not want an 8-pack? Do you not want like a 12-pack? Do you not want, all the packs? Do you not want all the triceps? I'm telling you right now, 2 minutes every day, the results speak for themselves. We're not sponsored by any trend companies right now, but if you are listening out there, this podcast could easily be brought to you by some good heavy duty off the streets, black market trank. And you can get that from. And once I'm sponsored, I'll let you guys know. We'll have a promo code. Get that trank /gladyamadeit. Dun, 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 dun. Hello and welcome back, because it is of course Wednesday. Dun, 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 dun. Please, if we can all just come together once again. And I've been hearing you out there. You're doing your best. You're doing this, that, and the other. Cost of life is a little bit, it gets to people sometimes, and you're like, man, how do I do a little bit of, is there anything I can do to assist myself? And to that I say, yes, if you've got a baby, I've been paying attention. People really don't, if you've got a baby in hand, people will almost always not pay attention to anything else that's going on and around you and your baby. So you can do crime. I'm not talking about like heavy duty crime that'll get you or others in trouble. I'm just talking about like, you could do crime and get away with it if you've got a baby in hand. Case in point, a single woman walks into any store and wants to steal some baguettes, wants to steal some nail polish. Everybody's looking at her. First of all, she's single, she's hot, and she's wearing, tight shorts. So all eyes are on you. And you're like, I can't steal anything. I can't, because everybody's looking at me. That sucks for you. But if you bring in an additional player into this little equation, i.e. baby, everybody will be focusing on the baby and not paying attention to you. What I recommend for the meantime, until you get your footing straight, footing right, and until you get a good foot, until you get a leg up, until you get, maybe you don't have legs, until you get some legs, until you get some money to buy yourself some legs. Use your baby to go into any area and distract the individuals who may or may not be watching you with your said baby. The best way to divert attention is to have the baby suckling on a tit, and then have the baby latch on, but also latch off, to just have now just release the tit in the wild. All right, with one hand, release the tit. The baby is latched on. You release the tit with one. You flick the baby in the face. You flick the baby, latches on. You flick the baby, it latches off. Tit is exposed. People are like, wow. And that's, so everyone's now looking at your loose tit and your baby. I'm wondering, is the baby going to latch on again? Or how long are we going to see this loose tit? And now take 30 seconds, 45 seconds with your other hand, all right? A sleight of hand, or sleight of tit as I like to call this one. Sleight of tit / baby. With your other free hand, pick a few items that you like, put it in your purse and your pocket, and flick the baby once again in the face. Tit pops back into its mouth, latched on. Suckle City once again, all right? It's dairy season. It's liquid time. It's milky, jugga, give it to me. Mama, you know what I'm talking about? Get that lactose. The point is, babies go hand in hand with crime. Use it wisely. And of course, if you're men's out there, you don't have the advantage of having a baby sucking on your tit. But you could get one of those like fake tits. You've seen the fake tits, right? The ones for multiple kinds. You're like, which ones are you talking about? Not the ones for like sexual activities, not the ones that are just like rubber and it looks like fake tits just for the sake of looking like fake. I'm talking about the fake tits used for breastfeeding a baby. Have one of those. It's not going to be as it's still gonna, it'll draw attention. It's not as good as, of course, a real female with a real tit, but have the bottle in the fake tit, and adjust the baby's head, flick the baby once it's grabbed onto the bottle with its tiny mouth. Again, latch on, latch off, free hand, moving objects into your bag, into the stroller. Easily, you could walk up to anybody and if they're sitting in their cars with a baby, be like, "Hey, sir, could you roll down the window for a second? My baby's just poo-pooed its pants." They roll down the window, you knock them in the face, you take the car key, you drag them out, you kick them to the curb, and you drive away with their car, and nobody will suspect you because you got a baby in your arm. Nobody suspects anyone with a baby to do that until they catch on, of course. So this is a limit. As soon as everybody, there's always, it's crime prevention. It's a cat and mouse game. As soon as this gets out, which things do get out quickly on this podcast and reach people on a global scale, intergalactically, it'll be. I'm trying to help you right now because I know school season next week. We're in the holidays once again. Trying to get you a couple of, if you can. Again, I'm not saying go do crime. I'm just saying if you're in that position, use your baby. It does help. It definitely does help. You're like, oh, can I rob a bank with a baby? You certainly can, because no one will suspect you and your baby to rob a bank. Give your baby a tiny baby gun so that people will think it's like a little fake, toy gun for your baby, but actually have it be real. And that, teach your baby how to shoot. And of course, they're not going to be the best aims. You should probably protect yourself with protective gear, but then rob the bank with your baby. And once you get away, they won't be able to identify you and your baby. Well, they might be they'll identify you, but not your baby, because most babies look alike. That's what I've noticed. Most babies look alike, and most elderly look alike. 80 plus, everybody starts looking the same. Babies, what I'm talking around sunset, all babies look the same. In poor lighting, it's, of course, with good lighting, you're like, yes, there's a distinguished, shade to that baby, or the shape of the baby is that. But I'm telling you, sunset, you put 10 babies in a lineup during sunset, quick glimpse, whose baby's whose baby. Pick your baby if you can in the sunset. I dare you. You'll go home with the wrong baby 99% of the time, and that one other time, the guy's a fucking cuck. He's trying to ruin the stats. But the point is, babies help with crime. There you go. You're welcome. Go have a baby. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining me once again. It's Friday. No, it's not. It's Wednesday. Got ahead of ourselves. It's Wednesday. Hello. Meta, the parent company of Facebook. How does the parent company of Instagram, how is a company a parent by itself? How does that work, parent company? And this is not just about Meta. This goes out to all the other so-called parent companies with all their baby companies. How do they have it? Because I thought companies were supposed to get together and bump and grind and an exchange of company sperm and eggs so you can create more. But apparently one parent company can have multiple baby companies. Parent company Meta. Single parent company that's a single parent company, which makes my heart actually kind of go out low-key. We all know how difficult it is. You've heard of stories, little baby companies running around not getting enough attention because it's like a single parent company household. Oh, mommy, where's mommy? The little baby company will say, mommy's a junkie, sweetheart. She's not coming home. It's just dada. And it's sad. It's sad. Nonetheless, Meta right now it's getting sued up the yin yang, up the wazoo, up the old anal gland, up the vaginal cavities. Meta is getting sued in the urethra. Meta is hemorrhaging. I'm just kidding. Meta's making bank. Meta's on top. Meta's king. Meta dominates. You wish you were Meta. You wish you had more Meta's being sued, right? You're like, why? Some of you may or may not. They've been getting sued recently. They're going to be getting sued more. It's a whole lawsuit on top of lawsuit, which is why I decided to step in today and represent my client, Meta, and tell you guys that if you hear these filthy lies that they're coming out and saying that Meta is addictive, that it's been addicting children. It's been collecting children's data, little teeny tiny teenagers' data. It's been collecting it, finding out that it's addictive, and then collecting the data on the children, and then promoting more of its product to children. And then people are like, if you don't pay for it, you're the product. So they're doing like reverse psychology, because it's like free, but they're like, use our product, but then they turn you into the product. And then they've been hiding the data too, knowing that their product is good and addictive. And that's basically it, right? They're being sued for like 200 billion up to 1.4 trillion. They're being sued for a lot, but also they probably got a lot in the grand scheme of things. Honestly, we could just like come to, we could just like, here, have 600 billion and we'll still be okay. But the point is about principle, which is why I'm defending my company, the company that I work for, basically. If you are coming out here with weak children, getting, any sort of bad habits, if your kid picks up a bad habit online, it's most likely because of the look within first. It's easy to cast rocks. If you're in a glass house and you cast rocks and you're like, oh, my mansion's made out of like one of those. If you got like a mansion that's made of glass, don't throw rocks unless it's like shatterproof glass, like like heavy duty metal, like, bulletproof glass. Then toss all the glass to, because it's indestructible. Like you could do whatever you want if it's like good sturdy glass, like not one of those like shit, flimsy, produced in like a third world country, like, tiny home made of glass that'll like, shatter if you step on it. But if it's like good, made in America, made in the USA with like good, if it's like, if it's 100% pure American made beef glass house, then you're good to go. Cast the stones. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that if your baby's weak and your baby fell through and your baby harmed himself or herself or got addicted, your baby has the propensity to get addicted to anything. If it can get addicted to anything, it can. If it can get addicted to meta, it could get addicted to crack. It's actually better to. And what's better, crack or meta? We say meta. Meta's way better than crack. Unless you're like, at least with crack they'll be outside, but they'll probably have missing teeth and they'll probably get AIDS. You're like, we have money for AIDS, we don't care, we rather them get AIDS, but also some sunshine. And that's legit. That could be legit concern that we could potentially look, and maybe we could team up with big AIDS and big crack to bring everything together, so that we get the kids outside, they get the crack, they get the vitamin D, loose needles. We're gonna need ample amounts of loose needles. With AIDS, of course, that's not easy to come by. We'll do our part. We've done our part. We'll continue to do our part. The point is, you've got weak children. There's plenty of strong children online, thriving, learning to do things like makeup breakup, how to better themselves by focusing in on their looks, taking it to the things like looks maxing. Some kids are thriving heavily by looks maxing, going into, from adolescence to young adulthood, and then, even doing more of that. And that they're working really hard. They've got multiple multi-million-dollar cars and homes, traveling constantly, eating all the food around the world whilst traveling and eating and maxing their looks, and that's fantastic. And they're doing it together. So they get together and then they max life. They max life together. They get together. And the kids that don't are because you're not good at it. You're not good at it, And people like to point out we came and we got big tobacco to come out and say that their smokes are delicious. Why can't we do that with Meta? Meta can toss you some paper, and at the end of the day, we'll slap a warning label on it. But at the end of the day, it's a company that we work for and love and cherish, and it'll be here for eternity. Maybe not under the same name, but like it's a good product. It gets people revved up, gets you something. It's good to do things with your hands and be out there with family, but it's also good to have an online presence. It's important that you give yourself a voice. Remember that. It's crucial. Nobody else will. It's crucial So yes, you might have people who struggle with it, learn from it, grow. If they happen to, murder themselves and or others because of Meta, know that they were gonna murder and kill themselves regardless. It's not Meta's fault. Do you not want a good product? What is the point of building that? What is the point of this? What are we doing together? I thought we were all just doing capitalism together. I thought we were all just like thriving, making. Do we not care about successful businesses or not? Do we want to hinder little tiny businesses so that they don't grow, or do we want to see them grow and sell their product at the end of the day? We want to see them sell products. Quit being a motherfucking hater out there. Get your weak genes out of the gene pool, if you will, and let the good genes gene on if you can. I think that supports our client. Basically, I'd like to rest my case to the beautiful judges. Below the judges table, you will find briefcases filled with cash, if you know what I'm talking about. And this is not to influence your decisions in any shape or form, but if you reach under your seat right now, you're sitting on approximately $10 million. You can just take it. And again, we don't want this pile of cash to make you lean in any particular way, or sway you in any form or direction. It's make your own decisions. At the end of the day, once you start your car, you'll notice the glove compartment will pop open and you'll find a briefcase filled with $20 million in that glove compartment. And it's not to tell you to, again, lean in any particular way. It just so happens that you're gonna go into your home and put your keys in and turn your door handle and open your door, and you're gonna watch out, be careful where you step, because there's briefcases filled with cash in your home right now. Do not trip over them, and we certainly don't want you to make any decisions based on it. I don't want you to take these briefcases filled with cash thinking that you should, think a certain thing or make your own decisions. What we just want to see you be happy. We just want to see you be happy out there. Well, we can't let them get sued. At the end of the day, we're all on it. We're all working on it. How would that work? We can't let them, unless we all get it, but they could probably afford to pay everybody as well. They can, again, 600 billion, just toss it at whoever. Everybody gets a little chunk. We're all on it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is, we're learning. These are the early stages of all this sort of tech. You learn. It's good to get some cash. Let's give everybody some cash. I just don't like the whole lawsuit label on it. I just don't like the whole. Can we make it? Hey, that's like, think of your friend that like fucking won the lottery and then coming in and just like fucking wetting your beak a little bit. Here, have some cheddar, right? That's your friend. Have it be like a friend. Here, have some cash. That's lawsuit. It sounds dirty. I don't like that. It sounds dirty. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, that so shout out to everybody doing everything out there, and my client rests easy tonight. May you too, judges, rest easy. Should you decide to go in a different direction, there will be absolutely zero consequences. None. Nothing to worry about. I mean, we got all your loved ones' information, and you got nothing to worry about out there. We know where your children's schools are. You got absolutely nothing to worry about. Judges, rest assured, you'll be okay. Should you fail to make the right decision, there will be no consequences. Everyone's gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. You and your family, your cat, your pet goldfish is gonna be okay. My God. Ladies and gentlemen, deck safety. Deck safety is something that often gets thrown out to the side. People are like, I don't want to hear nothing about deck safety. Who cares about deck safety? It's just a deck. It's just the extension of your home or place of residence or place of work. Who cares about decks? Well, let's take a close look at this story and see if anybody cares about decks. Missouri, hello to my beautiful people from Missouri. A beautiful deck story from Missouri. U.S. Marshals busy on a mission to stop a global pedophile. I added the global part in. He's a pedophile. There was a mission. It's a mission. They were on a mission. The U.S. Marshals were on a mission. I just added a global pedophile because it just, for the story's sake, it sounds more, people like it. Let's just leave that in. Let's not edit that if we can. Global pedophile. Let it actually be. If it's not, just let it be. Just let it be. Let's go with it. A global pedophile was at his home. They thought the U.S. Marshals were gonna do a mission. They were gonna go pounce and bust into this fella's home in Missouri, all right, because of said pedophilia on a global scale, right? And then they got on the second or third floor. I can't remember how high the building was. Doesn't matter. It was like 2-3 floors up high. Doesn't matter. The point is that they all, like a whole bunch of them, like I can't remember how many, maybe 5 to 10 at least. 5 to 10 U.S. Marshals, armed to the gills, armed to the arms, armed to the balls, armed to the anus, arms inside their anus, anuses inside their arms, arms inside their arms, arms to the teeth, teeth with arms, arms on their heads, legs on their feet, feet on their body. They had bodies and they had arms, armed to the shoulder. Armed, I don't know why we got to armed to the shoulders, armed to the shoulder. They had shoulders and then they had armed. Their shoulders were armed officers went in to bust in and crack this motherfucker over the head and be like, "Pow, it's pow time to see some repercussions for your actions, global pedophile." And basically they got on the deck, but the deck was weak and it collapsed, making the U.S. Marshals, which by the way look fucking awesome all the time. These guys, shout out to the U.S. Marshals, probably one of the coolest bunch of people out there. Amongst, of course, there's the Frogmen, big fans, the SWAT teams, of course, intel operators, of course. They look really cool, all right? These guys are fucking juiced up. They've been doing the trank and numbing cream exercises like I've been telling them. They've been getting beefy, thick, and the only thing that they're concerned about is justice or just ice. So they're going to go out there and, bring some justice. But next thing you know, the weak deck collapses and they all fall. And it turns out that the global pedophile wasn't home at the time. They got him later. But they did get a little bit injured, and that's not good, which is why I'd like to take this moment, this portion of the podcast, and say that deck safety is of high importance. A lot of people like to just forego deck safety. They think that it's all fun and games, no, but these are topics that we talk about here. It's the topics that many people don't want to touch because maybe they're puss. I'll say it straight up, going where most people don't. Deck safety, and they like to have build a deck and then just leave it be without any sort of maintenance, and then the years go by, winters come, summers follow, winter comes, and then spring is right there, and then summer follows, and then fall is right there, and then winter comes, and then spring is back up again, and then with all the spring, the sun is hitting the deck, and the summer it gets even more intense, and then here comes the winds in the fall, and then the gust of the wind bringing the rain, and then the snow and the slush, and the years go by, and that deck, you've been neglecting that deck. There's a homeless guy urinating, jacking off right below the deck, and just this jizz gets on the metal and it corrodes the metal, and it's like one shot of jizz won't corrode the metal that much, you'll say that now, but 20 years of jizz on that said metal will eventually make the metal dissolve. Next thing you know, U.S. Marshals climb that deck, wanting to infiltrate a global pedophile ring on a global scale. It was just one man, but ring again does sound better, leave it in. Global pedophile ring, awaiting to get justice. Next thing you know, weak deck drops, collapses, U.S. Marshals made a fool of for a brief moment, and you're like, I don't care about deck safety. I don't care that it could be my children on that deck playing, look, daddy, look. And the next thing you know, deck collapses, dead babies. Fix your deck. Missouri has always been known for their sturdy decks. This is an anomaly. I don't want to say that this is an example of all decks in Missouri. I'm just going to say it was a lemon of a deck, but nonetheless, this is important to us. One of the first episodes we did on Gladyamadeit was actually about deck safety. And I don't care. I'll get on my little soapbox until, because it's the things that matter to us. It's the things that, because if we don't care, then who cares? If we don't care, then no one will care. You're like, deck safety, I don't care that my wife is barbecuing on this old deck. Deck collapses, wife is dead. Dead. Orphan babies are left crying. Where's mommy, daddy? Where's mommy? And you can explain that you had a weak deck because you thought it'd just be just fine. Be just fine. Leave that deck be. It's just fine. Is it just fine? Did you ever ask the deck how it's doing? Did you ever go, apply a fresh batch of paint to that bitch? Tighten up a couple of screws? Maybe put in an extra pull? As the kids got heavier, you thought it'd be okay for them to have the swing set set up underneath the deck. Years and years of incremental weight gain by those chub kids. Weakening the deck little by little until one day it collapses and it kills you. Orphan children once again left to fend for themselves, turned into prostitutes at an early age. It's a damn shame. But together we can raise awareness and make sure that deck safety gets the attention that it deserves. Shout out to the Marines, shout out to the U.S. Marshals. Fucking doing heavy duty shit with guns that are girthy. Girthy guns and girthy necks. The U.S. Marshals. Cue and soundtrack. Dun 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a show if we can get this going, because I like food like many of you out there. I like food. I like traveling. If I'm not fooding, I'm traveling. If I'm not traveling, I'm fooding. You know the type, the food travel type. I like to get behind it or in front of it or to the side of it. Somewhere within the vicinity, food travel show, pitch time, bitch, get in the pitch time. It's bitch pitch time. It's what time it is. It's pitch time, bitch, get in there, because it's pitch time. Travel food show, but you always have the people, the host. I'm pitching this idea. I'd like to be the host of this travel food show. But the thing with travel food shows or any food or travel show is that the individuals involved, A, are open to try anything, all right? And B, they've got like good sturdy stomachs, and they like to travel and eat. These are the components of food travel show. I like to introduce if we can change it up a little bit, you know what I'm talking about. Guy with weak stomach, propensity to throwing up, and not open to trying new foods. That's the pitch of this. Because anybody can just walk in and be like, oh, yum yum to all the foods, but have that same guy, you meant right here, right? I get in there. First of all, I don't even like travel that much, and that's like a lot of show can be just like centered around the team, how to talk me into traveling to someplace. We're going to wherever, and I'm a fan of everywhere, but for the sake of the show. I'm a fan of everywhere, but for the sake of the show, right? Character of the show, he doesn't like going places. I'll be like, where are we going this week? And they're all like, oh, Rob, we're going to, Kazakhstan. I'm all like, oh, I don't want to go to Kazakhstan for like 20 minutes. It's just like persuading me. And by that, I mean bringing in lumps of cash, goodie bags filled with cash, right? And just dumping it on my table. I'm like, oh, you can't buy me. And I was like, oh yeah, here's 20 million. They toss 20 million. I take a lighter and I burn it right in front of them. I'm like, that means nothing to me. When they're not looking, I'll put the fire out quickly and try to, shove as much of the 20 mil in my pants. But the point is, we have that going on. That's like 20 minutes of the show. The next portion is us getting to Kazakhstan or Finland or wherever else there is. And they're going to be like, oh, we're going to go sit down at this, unique hole in the bar and try this unique pastry that's been made by the local grandpa who's been married to the local grandma for 275 years. And they've never changed the recipe for 500 years. And they've been wearing the same socks for 1,000 years, but you got to try these dumplings. And I'm like, ugh, dumplings with the grandpa who's like 1,000 year sold, no thanks. And you're like, but we gotta eat the dumplings because it's really good. And again, it goes again the whole motif of this, just like there's tension, right? I'm saying I don't want to try it because it'll make I don't got that kind of. And I always emphasize I go to one meal and one meal only. It's hamburgers and fries and Coke, right? I got that handy every time. I take a bite out of the disgusting dumplings. I throw up instantly. Throw up instantly. You know what I'm talking about? We're in Southeast Asia. You're like, you gotta try this grandma's Southeast Asian dumplings. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And then you're like, you gotta try it. 20 minutes of this goes by. You know, the grandma herself, the master chef, comes in those little airplanes, whoosh, whoosh, tries to put it in my mouth, and then she does. And then I eat it, and then I instantly throw up. Next thing you know, we cut to me eating my hamburger with my Coke and shoving fries down my face. And that could be, you know, that could be the whole thing. We could do like 200 countries, 1 year, guy with propensity to throw up. That's the whole, because anybody can enjoy, everybody loves food. It's just something different. Guy who throws up and it's like, oh, disgusting monkey's head. You know what I'm talking about? But like, I secretly love monkey's head, but for the show, not again monkeys, and I'll throw up. I will need extra cash because of all the throwing. People think it's easy to throw up on demand, and it is. But the acidity will burn your insides if it's repeated all the time. So I'm taking the money that you see. I earn every penny from this goddamn show. Damn it. Sure. It's 100 million an episode. That's what I'm going in with. That's what we demand. That's what we're gonna get, and we're not gonna settle for anything because this is the acid reflux fucks you up. People think that it's he's got 100 million per episode. He should be alright. It's the acid reflex. All right. Try living with that. Let's try. So I had to pitch that to where shows get pitched. Pitch station, Pitch County, Pitchville. Where do shows get pitched? Pitch center. You've called a pitch center. Do you have a pitch for us? I'm pitching it now. Pitch time. Is there a hotline for pitches? You've called a pitch hotline. You have a hot pitch for us? Oh, I'd like to call in. It's a hot pitch time. About a show with a guy, with a host with a propensity for throwing up. Pitch picked up. So there you go. It's pitch time. LaGuardia is an airport, apparently. I didn't want to believe it until I heard it a while ago, and I kept saying it without knowing what it is. I thought it was like Narnia. They're like, did you hear what happened in LaGuardia? And like, yeah, with the elves and the midgets and the unicorns. Totally, LaGuardia, dude. I'm all about it. Wasn't LaGuardia last week? Where you been? Love LaGuardia. I'd like to take the family to LaGuardia and just get away from it all. You know what I mean? Touch grass at LaGuardia. Get centered at LaGuardia. I didn't know what it was, but apparently, allegedly, still, like, I could be wrong. I think it's an airport. But it just got an upgrade. There's now mice running around in LaGuardia. Congratulations to all LaGuardians. And LaGuardia also sounds like a disease as well as, oh, that guy's got the LaGuardia. Ugh, get away. What is that? He's got the LaGuardia cough. Oh, get away. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, what is that? What's that on her shin? It's LaGuardia. Ugh. It's still puss. Get over here. The point is, what's that on her vagina? It's LaGuardia. It's oozing. Hello. It's LaGuardia. They got mice. It's an airport, allegedly, so they say. It's got mice. We decided to. It's a new thing we're doing based on our statistics. The people love mice depictions on television, especially in cartoons, i.e. ergo, case in point, Ratatouille. Tom and Jerry from when I was growing up, and other instances of Mickey Mouse, of course, and other instances of mice being delightful in cartoons and movies alike. So people like that. We decided to put the mice in the airport. If you see them, do not be squeamish or scared to touch them or play with them. They're friendly mice. They're clean mice. They have zero bacteria. Pick them up, lick them. They've actually been, they not only taste like candy, they also smell like candy too. play with their tails, kind of like, grab them by the tail and twirl them around and then throw them at each other and at yourselves. We thought it'd give more like a pet-friendly vibe to the airport. Of course, if you have a problem with the mice, rest assured we're moving forward with our animal themes at airports. We will bring in the cats to balance out the population of the mice. If you have a problem with the mice, make friends with the cats. The cats will know when to attack the mice at the airport. See a mouse, it's a problem. Get a cat, throw the cat at the mouse. The mouse is gone, or at least away from you for the time being until you boarded your plane. Should you, of course, have a problem with cats, we will have a remedy for you. We will bring in dogs. If you have a problem with the mice and you throw in the cats, but the cats are freaking you out, there are dogs that you can get, and you throw the dogs at the cats, and the cats and the dogs are not fighting, of course. And the cats and the dogs are fighting, then the mice will run rampant around, and it could get a lot. But then if you're like, I don't know about cats and dogs, and I'm allergic to cats and dogs and the mice, rest assured we will bring in antelopes to distract the dogs, not so much as to get rid of them, but again distract them. But they'll charge at the dogs, and the dogs will charge back. The dogs will chase the cats and the antelopes, and some of them might accidentally eat some of the rats, which is not a problem because we have lots of them. Of course, if you are like, I don't know about the whole antelope thing, that could be a problem. We will bring in, of course, the zebras to get rid of the antelopes. And by get rid of, I just mean there'll be zebras that'll distract you from the antelopes, because honestly, who can stop staring at the black and white stripes? Seriously. But we have heard your concerns. Some people are like, I don't know, man, zebras, yeah, black and white, cool, but also a little bit sus. It's like, pick a side. You know what I mean? Pick a side. Which is it? Black or white zebra? Which is it? Where does your loyalty lie, zebra? Perhaps right down the middle. Perhaps they've got it all figured, or perhaps they're cowards, which is why, because of people with those concerns, we will bring in, of course, the hippos who will trample the undecided zebras. And so rest assured, all that to say is that if you have a problem with the mice, it'll be taken care of by the cats. And if not, the dogs will take care of the cats. And if that doesn't make you happy, then yes, we do have the antelopes and the zebras. And if the zebras are an issue, we do have hippos. And if the hippos don't quite cut it for you, then we will bring in the zebras once again, but they'll be riding on giraffes' backs. That's right, giraffes with zebras on their backs at LaGuardia, this magical place allegedly that exists, operating as an airport, whatever that means. The point is, if you have a problem with the giraffes, don't be alarmed. Of course, there is, elephants, giant African elephants who will trample all the animals if you are concerned about running into any of these sad animals. And because customer satisfaction is key at LaGuardia. If you're not happy with that, then last resort, we will bring in a whale. There is going to be a few whales who will actually eat the entire cast of animals, and there's no room for you at the airport at this moment. We have a few whales and it's just tight right now. So low key, maybe, pick a different time to travel when the pets are not there. But nonetheless, make friends with the pets and animals. It's part of the whole new theme. You're welcome out there, thinking of customers first. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that time of year once again. It's just August. Elon Musk has just said that there's going to be like 1 billion robots in 5 to 6 years, approximately 2030, 2031. 1 billion robots. There's humanoid robot. Are they going to be Chinese robots, or are they going to be our robots? Because that's different, because it's different, right? We've seen the videos, because if you've seen the, not saying they're not as good, but they're not as good. Low-key, you've seen the electric vehicles getting charged at the gas stations blowing up. That could be your humanoid robot plugged in next to your baby, blows up, baby's dead, wife wants a divorce. Who would have thought this would happen? Oh, I don't know, I'll get a cheaper humanoid robot on Temu. That's what you should have gotten from us. made in America, god damn it, that's what happens. Or like, oh, I'll just, we're gonna get rockets from China. The rockets go up and it explodes in midair. You know why? Because like, that's part of the game, but also it's probably cheap material. I'll say that, probably cheaper material. Probably that's communist products. That's what happens. You know, our rockets, solid, sturdy, girthy, pulsating, sweaty, with a little bit of pre-cum. Their rockets, thinner, shorter, thinner, less veins, not as much pulsating going on. Good bush, good solid bush. They do get ample amounts of points for the bush on there. But the point is that you want a good product, you support, you know, US manufactured robots. Of course, there's going to be one robot, 1 billion, there's 8 billion here, 8. So for every 8 human, there'll be 1 robot, which means you'll have to take turns, all right? You're gonna have to take, there's gonna be 8 of you, all right? There's gonna be a robot per 8 people. So if you wanna get finger fucked and or get your back blown out by a robot, we're working on a schedule where you could like, kind of like, you know, sign them out like books, like we did with the libraries back in where people used to go to libraries and sign out books. You can now sign out a communal robot until, of course, we have a robot per person, but that'll probably be in like 15, 20 years. Those, you know, and then those, you know, that generation will never know what it feels like to have to sign out a robot to get sucky time. You know what I'm talking about? Or like get a robot signed out and it's still got jizz from the other guy. And that's not fun though, but they'll never know that. But we want that for future generations. You always want future generations to do better. So get used to signing robots out. And he also said that the economy is going to double in size in 5 years. What does that mean for you? If you're successful, it means nothing. You should not worry about nothing. If you're not doing well, then the gap will probably widen, is what I'm trying to tell you, between it'll widen. Just make sure you fall in the right half of the haves and the have. Just make sure you have enough, because it'll widen. And it's gonna be a lot more billionaires and trillionaires in 5 to 10 years. That's gonna happen. But at the same rate, the good thing is that all you need is like 7 other people and yourself to take out 1 robot, unless they get really good at that jiu-jitsu, and they've been tumbling ones. You've seen the tumbling goat robots. There's goats on them. They're not ghosts, but they're goat robots. There's a robot on a mountain tumbling better than a mountain goat tumbles. It's crazy shit, but that's just one. I'm not saying that they're going to be equipped with, you know, facial recognition and weapons on their backs, but in case they do, just, you know, it takes 7 to 8 of you to take out one of these guys. Unless everything goes really well, which we're hoping for, which it will, they'll be working twice as much to give you all the benefits of the monies. Your pockets will be filled with the monies, because the economic growth will be twice as much. Not because right now it's just once as much, and you're like, this is a lot. In 5 to 6 years, it'll be twice as. So get ready for twice as. If you like once as much, you're gonna like twice as much, because that's like once more than twice, or double, whatever it is now. So whatever you have now, double it in 5 to 6 years, and then add a robot to it. I want one right now so bad. I want a robot so bad. This podcast is brought to you by robots. The point is that many people ask, Rob, I want to get a girl, but how do I know that she's a squirter? To get yourself, so that's a wonderful question. Thank you, Jeremy, or Jeremiah, or Jerry boy. Jeremiah said, how do I get a girl, but how do I know she's a squirter? It's a wonderful question. Because yeah, you could get a girl anytime you want, but like how to know she's a squirter? So I'll say this, Jeremiah. Getting a squirter is no different. Picking a squirter girl is no different than picking the right watermelon. The steps are similar. Pace around them. I like to pace around the watermelon stand, just kind of like, because you got to get a look from different angles, because it might look a certain way from one angle, and the next thing you know, you're like, my eyes. So walk around, do a walk around like you're purchasing a car and kicking you know how you walk around a car and kick the tires? Walk around the set, chick. Kick her feet a little bit. See how, listen. You want to hear a noise. You want to hear her kick the feet. Squeeze her tits, all right? Best because, again, same principles as purchasing a ripe watermelon. Knock on the tit. You want to hear like a hollow, echoing sound, kind of like if you should be able to put your ear to the tit, and they say if you hear the ocean in the said tit, then she scored on that one. If you hear the ocean, if it's like if it's faint splish splash, walk away, come back in a couple of days or weeks or months or years, then maybe it'll be there. Their shadow. If they cast a shadow larger than their body, squirter. If their shadow is petite, all right, squirting, probably not gonna happen. Not to say that it doesn't, but we're going on stats. If the shadow is smaller than the lady, probably not a squirter. It can happen, but it's very rare. They're like 1 in 10,000 with a small shadow. Happens to always never squirt, but like 1 in 10,000 does, which a lot of people like to be like, oh, but look, here's 1 in 1. That's just 1 in 10,000. All right, we're not talking about the masses here. Shadow, the sound of, you should be able to hear an echo by placing your lip on the areola and saying something. Yell into the tit, and if it yells back, say hello. And if you hear hello, that's a squirter right there. Throw them in water, and just like watermelons, if it sinks, not a squirter. All right, if it floats, squirter. So these are just some methods. Of course, it's not a guaranteed. All right, there's always anomalies, but these are the traditional methods used to detect whether or not said bitch is a squirter or not. So you're welcome out there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, many people are in that job market right now. They're trying to, get a job, find a job, but also you may have found a job, but are wondering to yourself, how could I go ahead and get this promotion at the job that I've been at for like 3 months or 6 months or a year? Thank you, Samantha, for your wonderful question. How to get a promotion at a job. A lot of people will say work hard, show up on time, all those things. Yeah, those are fine. The things that are great, but how to get a promotion and get ahead in a job, this is what they don't teach you anywhere. Causing a problem at your workplace and then coming up with the solution without, of course, anybody finding out that you caused the said problem is a surefire way to get a promotion. Find where your manager or boss parks his or her car. Steal their keys. Open their hood. Jam your arm in there and pull some wires out. Close the hood, go back to work, wait for them to finish work, and then want to head to their car and then go home. Have them be extremely disappointed in their car not starting. Show up there with your sleeves rolled up and grease on your face and say, I'll take care of it, boss. Make sure that you're good with car parts so that you can actually put the car parts that you ripped out back in place so that his or her car can start. If you're not good with cars, don't do that one, because the point is to create the problem and then come up with the solution. Don't rip out the car parts if you don't know what you're doing, unless you're okay with just like throwing it off. Maybe that's not even the problem to begin with. Maybe let them have that problem, and then the next day, get in early, cut the brakes in the elevator so that when they go all the way up to the top, it plummets all the way down. Don't worry. There's emergency brakes in all elevators, but have them, and then be the first person to respond to their screams of help, They're ringing that emergency bell. Be the first person to be like, boss, are you? And they'll say, boss, are you? And they'll say, Mikey, is that you? And you want to make sure, no, it's Samantha. It's Samantha, boss. It's Samantha. I've noticed that you're stuck in this elevator. Don't worry. I'll get you the help that you need. Take your time. Take your time. Stay there for as long as you can stay there till, like, be like, I'm going there to get help. Make fake walking step noises to pretend like you're going to go get help, but you just want to make sure nobody discovers him and gets the help. Make sure he's alone, and the longer he stays in that alley, you're like, boss, I'm working on it. Again, make the fake running noises with your feet. All right. Poison their food. Poison their, not to the extent that you're gonna kill them, of course, but just a little bit. A little bit of rat poison, and then be the first person with the phone in hand. So, oh my God, boss, what's going on? He's foaming at the mouth. Call 911 immediately. Next thing you know, bam, promotion city. Bam, moving up the ladder. Bam. Next thing you know, you're the underhand. You're the second dog in command. He's ready to actually retire and like put you in place of his son, despite the fact that he's got a son because he saved his life so many times. He's gonna give the company, man. So congratulations again. If you want to get promoted, quickest way: sabotage your boss and your manager, and then help them not die. That's basically, you want to get them close to the edge of death, but save them. Things could go wrong. Things could go horribly wrong. I'm saying that in advance, but that's in your hands. If you want to get ahead, you now have the blueprint. You're welcome. Many of you have seen this on the lines, and it was me. I was cleaning up my attic, and I found an old Mars bar from the 90s, and this thing's huge. I made a video online in my basement where I was cleaning up, and there was an old Mars bar from the 90s. It was huge, because then I had a current day Mars bar in my pocket, which I carry with me all the time, and I took them and I showed them side by side, and it just shows you that things from the 90s used to be bigger, and things from now, like right now, they're shrinking. And it's crazy because I was in the same attic cleaning up, and I found loose tits, and I pick them up, and there's these giant tits from the 90s. And then in my pocket, I had these some like loose tits in my pocket because I carry loose tits and they're from like modern day society's tits, right? I take the 90s tits and I put them side by side besides today's tits, and the 90s tits, it takes up the whole palm of your hand. And then today's tits, tiny little itty bitty tit, it's barely a tit. It's like a tit, it's like, it's not a full, 90s, you're like, that's a tit. Those are some tits, and today's tits, you're like, maybe it's a, you know what I mean? It's tiny but that's what it says, man. That's the signs of the times. It's crazy because I was in the same attic cleaning up. I found this loose vagina from the 90s. I put it right next to my face and I blow the dust off of it, and then I motorboated this nice vagina from the 90s, right? And it's a good, solid, healthy sized vagina. Covers the entirety of my mouth. And then again, I reach into my pocket where I happen to carry loose vaginas. I put them side by side. That's like 90s vaginas are way bigger than like today's vaginas, man. And that's shrinkflation. That's what you're getting. You're getting less vaginas and less tits and less Mars bars. And that's me cleaning up my attic and my basement. And it's crazy because on the same day I was just like cleaning, right? Looking around cleaning, and I found this like cock from the 90s. And I pull it out. And it's huge. It's big cock. Big cock from the 90s was left behind. And then in my pocket, I happen to carry like loose cocks. It's from modern times though. I put it side by side beside the cock from the 90s. 90s cock is like huge. And today's cock's tiny, which is, that's terrifying with the shrinkflation. You're just getting less and less. And I was busy, right? I was busy. I'm like, it's nothing. It's probably just coincidence, right? I'm cleaning up in my attic, and I find a loose taint. And I blow on it, dust it off a little bit. It's from the 90s. It says so on the bottom. It says made in the 90s. And it's giant. This taint is huge. You can like walk on it. And that's from the 90s, man. And then in my pocket, I have like loose taints in my pocket, and I pulled it out, put them side by side. Today's tiny little taints doesn't even compare. It's not even, because like the 90s taint, a nuclear family could live on the taint of the 90s, man. Room for your kids to grow old, run around, a little bit of leg room, the dog to, have some, a front yard, a backyard, 2 garages on that taint from the 90s. And with like today's taint is like a shoebox, like a tiny little shoebox. It's like 200 square feet taint, it's got all the essentials, and everything. And it's still good. It's still better than nothing. But like it's just tinier. It's just way tinier. The taint of today is tinier compared to the larger taints of yesteryear. And that's just some of the objects that I was. But I was like cleaning up, right? I'm cleaning up in the basement, in the attic basement. I find these loose areolas, blow on them, right? And I put them in my mouth, and it felt great because it felt wholesome, and like you could tell it was like good quality areolas. And in my pocket, just randomly I reach into it because I carry like loose areolas, put it side by side beside the areolas of the 90s, and it's much smaller, man. It's much smaller. So I don't know what's going on with all these products from the 90s that I'm discovering in my basement and in my attic. But just if anybody else has noticed things that are shrinking, man, especially the taints and the vages. The vaginas of the 90s, it was like a bat cave. You could like walk inside and like get lost for days. And I did, because that's what I did. The loose vagina that I found, I walked inside. It's so big, I walked inside. 20 feet ceilings, just chandeliers hanging inside, Cirque du Soleil doing performances, and that's how big the vaginas from the night. Nowadays, barely even, you can't even park your car in there. So, food for thought, unless that's just my experience, unless it's just the items that maybe there were anomalies in my attic or in my basement, I'll leave it to the audience. Until next time, peace out, get out of here.